This is a show with no particular niche, baby. It's always about hanging out. Maybe we'll laugh at some stuff, maybe we'll learn something new, but it's always about hanging out, me and you. Hi, hello, and welcome, and perhaps welcome back to That Thing with James, a podcast about nothing in particular. I'm your host, James, and as usual, as the song suggests, the song I just sung suggests, this show has no particular niche. Rather, I just talk about whatever I'm interested in by the time I hit record. And today's topic is something I've actually been interested in. It's a connection I've been making over the past 2 or 3 years. And it turns out I am not the only one. As is true to form, as is usual, shortly, right before I started setting everything up to record this episode, I went ahead, I found a few resources, I scanned over them. There's no script to this. We're flying by the seat of our pants into my not so solo idea now that I know that shitposting is neo-Dadaism. If those are a bunch of nonsense words to you, well, hopefully, before long, they will make sense. Shitposting and Dadaism. Two things I love. One I've loved for a bit longer simply because, well, it existed for a longer period of time, and thus I knew about it for a longer period of time. Not necessarily I knew about it because it existed. I knew about it because of one of my favorite classes in college, art history. I think we studied from the turn of the century to, contemporary times. This would have been background 2011 when I took the class. But yeah, if you're familiar with shitposting but unfamiliar with Dadaism, well, get ready, because shitposting has been around for a long, long time. Now, before we get into it, some quick business. If you would like access to over 90 bonus episodes of this podcast, you can get access to them by becoming a patron at patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. That's patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. Yes, for $5, that's $5, you can get 30 days of access to all 90 plus bonus episodes of this podcast, along with other benefits available at patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. And to those of you who are already patrons, thank you so much. I am uber grateful. You rock. And again, if you're not a patron, if you want access to bonus episodes and the peace of mind that comes from helping to support an independent artiste, an independent creator such as myself, well, you can get all those things at patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. The link is written in the episode description, so you don't have to try to roll back and hear me say it with my mouth. It's right there for you to read, copy, and paste into your search bar, to your URL bar. Also written in the episode description is the address for this show's email, the subreddit, and the handles where you can find me on social media. That was not very eloquent, but I think I got the point across. If you want to find ways to find me online in a respectful, not creepy manner, in a, professional, normal, healthy manner, you may do so at the links and usernames written in the episode description. So. Shitposting Is it the the contemporary equivalent of Dadaism? I say yes. So before I jump into the resources I've pulled up, I'm going to attempt to give my own definition of these things with the knowledge that I have, be it from things I've learned in a class, things I've researched, and things I've experienced firsthand. But first, let me take a sip of water because I'm starting to get a headache and I got to blow my nose. So, sip of water time. You should hydrate too. First, let's talk about shitposting. And in order to talk about shitposting, we have to talk about memes. If you don't know what memes are, I urge you to look it up real quick. Pause this episode, look up MEMES or just MEME, one word, and read about what the hell a meme is. But chances are you already know what a meme is, because if you're listening to podcasts, then you are engaging in internet culture to not so beginner, not so cursory degree. And if you are already engaging with the internet at that level, then chances are you have come across memes. There are image memes, there are text memes, there are video memes, and there are audio memes. Usually, and this is how memes started, kind of. Actually, I'm not sure if they started either as an image or as text. And then there's also like text-based images. So a copy pasta, which is internet slang for copy and paste, some funny sentence or funny jumble of words that can be copied and pasted and tweaked a little bit to fit various circumstances, various contexts you may come across on the internet, in forums, on social media, and elsewhere. So where am I trying to go with this? Oh yeah, I'm not defining memes. I just said what kinds of memes there are, but again, if you're not familiar with what a meme is, look it up real quick and you'll probably realize, oh wait, I actually know what these are. But chances are you already know what a meme is, as I already said. A shitpost now is a sort of a genre of a meme. Now, it is not a shitpost is not. It may appear at first to the untrained eye, or perhaps you may be the uncorrupted eye, depending on what perspective you want to take. A shitpost may, to the untrained eye, seem the same, but I am here to tell you is not the same as surreal posting and schizo posting. Those are separate things. Shit posting, schizo posting, and surreal posts are three different things. Now, the word, the part of the word shit post is post, meaning it's something you post online on a forum setting like Reddit or 4chan, or if you're as old as me, you were on what were referred to as forums, internet forums, a long lost gem. But the closest thing, and they still sort of exist, they still absolutely exist, but most people, I assume nowadays, use sites like Reddit and 4chan as their own forums. And now 4chan and Reddit are sort of like hubs for all sorts of different niche and niche within those niche, so on and so forth, types of forums. And when you comment or upload a new, thread on these message boards, on these forums, as I grew up calling them, that's called a post. You post it. Like like you're going up to like there's a kiosk or a big board in town square. Like if you're playing Witcher 3 and you go into a new town and you see the board in the center of the town with all the little pieces of paper posted up there, like pinned up on the board, on the message board, literal planks, wood board, where people would post their messages saying, I need a Witcher to take care of this, or I'm pissed off at my neighbor because of this. That's a physical manifestation. That's the old school, tactile, analog manifestation of a post board or forum. And then, that applies to the internet with online message boards, aka forums, where you can post your own note about whatever you want. And then you can post comments to the OP. It's referred to as the OP, being the original post, or the person who made the original post is also referred to as OP, meaning original poster, okay, because they're the person who did the posting. Yeah, lots of variation of language here. We're getting deep. This is college, this is grad school level shit, okay? So, lucky you. You're getting a grad school education from a person with a master's degree for basically free. Whatever you're paying for internet and electricity, you're getting this for free, those charges aside. Shit posting now is, as I mentioned, a play on memes. And so a meme generally gets across in a, unlike my attempt to describe memes, in a rather succinct manner. Get across a message. Oftentimes the message is to elicit a laugh from whoever consumes the meme. Now, a shitpost is a play on that. It's sort of a satirical play on memes because it takes any popular meme format, because certain formats will arise over time, gain traction online, and a shitpost will take a popular format and turn it on its head in a way that queers the original meaning, queers the way the original message is pitched within a certain format. And if you look it up, you may find that a shitpost is usually described as a low effort post or a low effort meme. But I don't feel that's a really accurate description of a shitpost, because yes, there can be some that are low effort, but that come across low effort, or a shit poster may put very little effort into their shit post, into their ironical, satirical meme or meme format posting. Generally, a shit post that really works, a shit post that really makes you laugh and really makes you really takes a deconstructive, grad school words, baby, Jacques Derrida, deconstructive approach to a meme format. The ones that really work, I'll say, the shitposts that really work generally have some amount of effort that actually goes into it. And that effort may be applied in such a way to make it seem as though the meme was created with little to no effort. But effort does go into it because it requires thought and it requires familiarity with meme formats and trends in culture, or pieces of information in various paths of knowledge, be it history, art, computer science, so on and so forth. So that's a shitpost, is basically deconstructing and kind of poking fun at popular formats that of presentation you may find online. That's a shitpost. Now, this is not the first time that has happened. And as a matter of fact, shitposting, so to speak, came about, I believe, if I remember correctly, in the 1920s from the art scene that kind of, actually right before the 1920s, kind of like around World War I and then just after World War I. So yeah, late 19-teens into the 1920s. A lot of these artists, including the likes of like Salvador Dali, unfortunate fascist, although I don't even think he really understood what any fucking thing was. I think he just he liked having attention. Anyway, a lot of artists converged in Switzerland around this time and developed their new schools, their new approaches to art. So out of Switzerland, from, again, the likes of like Salvador Dali and his contemporaries, came surrealist art. And then there was also futurists, the futurist art. And then there was also the Dadaists, D-A-D-A. Two letters, meme, M-E-M-E, Dada, D-A-D-A. Dadaism took popular, known formats, known established approaches to art, schools of art, and deconstructed them and turned them on their head in a satirical sort of a way that sort of poked fun at the art world itself. In essence, Dadaism is, long ago, shitposting. It's shitposting before shitposting. This is a rough attempt. I hope I'm making sense, and I'm getting a little self-conscious about my effort here to just go off the cuff with the knowledge I have. So let's take another sip of water because it's getting hot outside and we really got to stay hydrated. And let's jump into the resources I pulled up for this episode. Drink your water, babies. All right, now let's compare and contrast. Let's see if these articles I found on the internet line up, or rather, if my breakdown lines up with what is written online. Let's test my knowledge here and hopefully teach you something new, or give you a new perspective on something with which you already interact. First, let's check out Wikipedia. Shitposting. And in internet culture, shitposting or trash posting, I've never heard it called trash posting. That's fucking lame. Shitposting is the act of using an online forum or social media page to post content that is of, quote, aggressively, ironically, and trollishly poor quality, unquote. Shitposts are generally intentionally designed to derail discussions or cause the biggest reaction with the least effort. It may even sometimes be orchestrated as part of a coordinated flame war to render a website unusable by its regular visitors. This is true. And also, I should note, one of my favorite subreddits is r/shitposting. Just going to lay that out there. Definition and usages. Shitposting is a modern form of online provocation. The term itself appeared around the mid-2000s on image boards such as 4chan. Writing for Polygon, hey, perhaps this, yes, it is. I actually have this article lined up. We're going to skip that. We're going to skip that part because I'm going to read that later. Ellipsis, onward. Professor Greg Barton, an expert on, oh my God, what? Professor Greg Barton, I can already smell CIA, IDF plan, an expert on terrorism at Deakin University said that racist shitposting is, this is true. Racist shitposting is common across the internet and is a way for people to connect and gain attention. He said, quote, "The thing about social media is that it's social. You want some feedback. You want people to like your stuff, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. Those are probably the only social media things that guy knows. Shitposting is all about getting your profile up, getting a response, and getting more ironic and funny. And getting a response, and the more ironic and funny you can be, the more you get," unquote. That's a fucking, that's not a shitpost. That's a word salad, fuck it. Let's keep reading. More Wikipedia. Dada. Dada, or Dadaism, was an art form of the European avant-garde in the early 20th century, with early centers in Zurich, Switzerland, at the Cabaret Voltaire in 1916, founded by Hugo Ball with his companion Emmy Hennings, and in Berlin in 1917. New York Dada began circa 1915, and after 1920, Dada flourished in Paris. Dadaist activities lasted until the mid-1920s. So Dada isn't just, when I say it's art, it's not just like paintings, although there were paintings, there were sculptures, there was even film. There's like a titular Dadaist film that just shows a random, sort of a strobe of random sort of images over which someone has recorded themselves speaking into a microphone, just going da 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 da. Nonsense. It's utter nonsense, but that's the point. It sort of disrupts you a little bit, and I don't mean that in the bullshit techie term, disrupting the industry. It's meant to interrupt the industry and interrupt your senses altogether, to jumble you up, to mix you up, to break you out of your regular mold. That's kind of the intent behind Dadaism, besides the fact that it was just fun to do, which it was because there were a lot of Dadaist as well as futurist performance art pieces. There would be performance art installations, but also like theatrical pieces. You can look up, there's like old videos and images of this stuff. Let's keep reading. Developed in reaction to World War I. Hey, I'm not doing too bad here. The Dada movement consisted of artists who rejected... sorry, I lost my place. Developed in a reaction to World War I, the Dada movement consisted of artists who rejected the logic, reason, and asceticism of modern capitalism, instead expressing nonsense, irrationality, and anti-bourgeois protest in their works. The art of the movement began primarily as performance art, but eventually spanned visually, literary, and sound media, including collage, sound poetry, cut-up writing, which I've done an episode about that, the cut-up writing method, and sculpture. Dadaist artists expressed their discontent toward violence, war, and nationalism, and maintained political affinities with radical politics on the left wing and far left politics. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Common sense is so fucking radical. There is no consensus on the origin of the movement's name. A common story is that the artist Richard Hulsenbeck slid a paper knife randomly into a dictionary where it landed on Dada, a French term for a hobby horse. Others note it suggests the first words of a child, evoking a childishness and absurdity that appealed to the group. Still, others speculate it might have been chosen to evoke a similar meaning or no meaning at all in any language, reflecting the movement's internationalism. The roots of Dada lie in pre-war avant-garde. The term anti-art, a precursor to Dada, was coined by Marcel Duchamp around 1913 to characterize works that challenged accepted definitions of art. Cubism and the development of collage and abstract art would inform the movement's detachment from the constraints of reality and convention. The work of French poets, Italian futurists, and German expressionists would influence Dada's rejection of the correlation between words and meaning. Ooh, very Derrida. Works such as Ubu by Alfred Jarry and the ballet Parade by Eric Satie would be characterized as proto-Dadaist works. The Dada movement's principles were collected in Hugo Ball's Dada Manifesto. Ooh, I didn't know there was a manifesto, in 1916. Ball is seen as the founder of the Dada movement. The Dadaist movement included public gatherings, demonstrations, and publication of art/literary journals. Passionate coverage art, politics, and culture were topics often discussed in a variety of media. Key figures, there was a whole lot of them. The movement influenced later styles like the avant-garde and downtown music movements and groups including surrealism, nouveau realism, pop art, and fluxus. So yeah. And there's a popular Dada what's the word I'm looking for? Sculpture by Marcel Duchamp called Fountain, created in 1917. And it's got something written on it. I'm not sure what. But what this fountain is literally a urinal. It is a porcelain urinal set sort of on its back on a pedestal. And it's called Fountain. Not too dissimilar from This Is Not a Pipe painting. Yeah, you can look it up. Fountain by Marcel Duchamp. So I think that's good enough for that. Let's go ahead to this Polygon article that I hinted at. Shitposting is an art if history is any indication, is the title. Subtitle, Drawing a Line Between an Internet Pastime and the Dadaist Movement by Sam Grezes, published December 17th, 2018. Also, sidebar, I want to note that I actually found there are other academic articles about this, the potential for a relationship between shitposting and Dadaism. You can find those online. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, so I'm not alone. I am not the only one who thought of this. Good. Now let's jump into this article. There are few feelings more uncomfortable and alienating than explaining a shitpost to someone who is unfamiliar with shitposting. That sentence alone illustrates my entire life experience. Let's keep reading. How can contextless images of skeletons with brass instruments, frogs on unicycles, moths, and most recently, the outright banning of the letter N, aka the forbidden, because N is a banned, the forbidden glyph, from the online lexicon. Entertain without presenting anything remotely reminiscent of a joke. Generally, social media sharebait images or memes follow the same rules of humor that other jokes do. They make an audience expect something, then they turn that expectation on its head. Classic image macro templates like Advice Dog, Success Kid, and Courage Wolf are clear examples of this formula, inspiring an expectation with the top line before shattering that expectation with the bottom line. Which brings us to the letter N. Explaining the forbidden glyph is nowhere near as simple as breaking down the anatomy of a joke because there is no joke to be found. The letter N is simply disgusting and needs to be stricken from the annals of history. Get it? That's where the gag begins and ends. Popular meme templates like Datboy and tposting follow this shallow template too. Completely absurd and devoid of context, the posts are funny, shareable, and engaging. The pure pointlessness earned the practice the title of shitposting. According to Google Trends data, again, this was published in 2018, so these memes are old by now, the examples he's using. According to Google Trends data, shitposting became an internet trend around 2014, spiking sometime around the 2016 presidential election and gaining popularity ever since. That time marked the start of a period of upheaval in our country, a spike in nationalism, acceleration in the growth of the wage gap as well as wage stagnation, and a growing population of young people frustrated by their surroundings. My God, does that not sound so fucking familiar to what we just read? The origins of Dadaism, history repeating itself again? My brain's going to explode. Oh, always, all the goddamn time, the same thing over and over again. Let's keep reading. There's an unlikely historical parallel to the moment, World War I era Europe. To simplify, in the late 1910s, as the war neared its end, nationalism spiked as the bourgeois class was protected from the wartime turmoil that ravaged the working classes. This persisted even after the war, most notably in Germany, and I've done episodes on that too, where post-war nationalism was reaching a boiling point. This atmosphere eventually led to the rise of the Weimar Republic. Interestingly enough, as a response to all of this, the lack of upward mobility, both socially, oh my God, I hit a button. I lost my place and I hit a button. Just a second. Interestingly enough, as a response to all of this, the lack of upward mobility, both socially and economically, the decay of human rights, the rise of nationalism, does that not sound familiar to you? A small group of artists formed in Switzerland and, in essence, started to shitpost. Visually, the Dada movement is hard to pin down. The whole point is that, oh my God, there's an image of the Mona Lisa with a mustache and a goatee painted on. The whole point is that there's no real guiding principle for the art other than the fact that it needs to stand staunchly opposed to any kind of established norms of composition. The only difference between the water fountain and a mundane piece of Dadaist art on display, a dad visiting a modern art museum around the world might joke, is a plaque and a multi-million-dollar price tag. They're referencing The Fountain by Marcel Duchamp. But that was part of the point of the Dada movement. There is no discernible artistic difference between, say, a urinal turned upside down and the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Not that there's anything special about the toilet itself, but instead that there's no inherent value in the more traditionally acclaimed works, not when the world itself is so harsh and unforgiving. Marcel Duchamp, perhaps the world's most well-known Dadaist, championed this point of view with his concept of quote-unquote ready-mades. He used this term to refer to mass-produced household goods that, in his view, only needed somebody's signature slapped on it in order to be considered worthy of display in a museum. This is why there's an upside-down toilet next to an original Picasso at the Tate Modern in London. The thinking was that a shitty world deserves shitty art. Ooh, I love it. According to the Dadaist Tristan Tzara, the beginnings of the movement came not out of a desire to make art, but out of a profound disgust with the world. Dadaist works would be confusing, context-free pieces that specifically because they were so absurd, were seen as revolutionary works both artistically and politically. A society that victimizes its own vulnerable elements doesn't deserve context, humor, or decadence, the artists insisted. That society instead deserves nonsense. The parallels between Dada works of the early 20th century and today's shitposting come even further into focus upon digging deeper into the problematic aspects of both. The cultural rage that birthed Dadaism and later shitposting has a darker side as well. Dadaism itself played host to plenty of problematic elements, chief among them the way their artists approached race. Oh, shit, were they racist? I didn't know that. Though, when the movement started, Dadaists defined their own movement as staunchly anti-racist and anti-sexist, the way in which they romanticized and engaged with non-European cultures was ham-fisted and lacking in understanding at best, and at worst, actively contributed to the attitude that people from other cultures were something other than human. Well, that's not good. Having said that, to hear it from the mouths of the artists that made up the movement, this was never their intention. In the Dada Manifesto, Hugo Ball lays out the movement's anti-art goals and principles, if you can even call them that, in the purest form. Not only that, it also reads like a repost Tumblr thread at times. Quote, "How does one achieve eternal bliss? By saying Dada. How does one become famous? By saying Dada, with a noble gesture and delicate propriety, till one goes crazy, till one loses consciousness. How can one get rid of everything that smacks of journalism, worms, everything nice and right, blinkered, moralistic, Europeanized, enervated, by saying Dada? Dada is the Dada is the world soul. Dada is the pawn shop. Dada is the world's best lily milk soap. Why can't a tree be called plopslush and plopslush when it has been raining? Plopblosh when it's been raining. The word outside your domain, your stuffiness, this laughable impotence, your stupendous smugness outside all the parrotry of your self-evident limitedness. The word, gentlemen, is a public concern of most importance." Unquote. Modern shitposting could be considered a neo-Dadaist movement. There was already one short-lived neo-Dada movement in the 1950s. Society is in a similar state of upheaval, while members of the most marginalized communities find themselves disgusted by rising nationalism, crushing poverty, and incessant attacks on human rights. The difference now is that the internet has turned everybody into a content creator. Anybody with MS Paint can create a meme in less than an hour, no matter their artistic ability. Beyond that, anybody with an internet connection can search through stock photo sites for any number of ridiculous images to post without context, an evolution of Marcel Duchamp's original idea of ready-made art. In theory, we don't deserve cute cats, funny jokes, or any content that could be considered understandable by anybody. By shitposting standards, Twitter and Facebook deserve to drown in a horrific sea of single-humped MS. And just like the Dada movement sometimes expressed itself in ways that were horribly racist, shitposting can be harmful as well. As the original counterculture, I'm getting tongue-tied here, as the original countercultural message of the Dada movement faded, many more problematic contemporaries started cropping up. In the same way, a variety of extremely online communities have co-opted popular shitposting templates to serve their own purposes, either to spread messages of hate speech, harass vocal members of marginalized communities with whom they disagree, or to spam social media threads they find unsavory into oblivion. The irony of twisting shitpost templates in a way that runs completely counter to their original intent, and in a way that, in adding to context and content, necessarily makes these posts not shitposts at all, does nothing to lessen the horrific impact of the online harassment that they cause. At the end of the day, there's not much that content creators can actually do to stop horrible people from co-opting their content and twisting it in short of suing everybody. Just ask the creator of Pepe. The artists behind the Dada movement predicted this type of response to their art. As soon as Dadaism gained enough international renown to become recognizable and therefore imitatable, the phrase "Dada is dead, long live Dada," as coined by Tristan Tzara, became a rallying cry for artists. The movement petered out quickly. By 1922, most of the movement's artists had moved on to surrealism, absurdism, or one of the countless other art movements that Dadaism inspired. The movement's artists showed little, if any, loyalty to this insanely influential movement they had created. Tristan Tzara's 1918 Dada Manifesto lays out a pretty convincing argument as to why. The Dada movement was rooted in deconstruction, and the artists that considered themselves to be part of that movement engaged in a form of self-annihilation because the entire world was broken. Quote, "Let each man proclaim there is a great negative work of destruction to be accomplished. We must sweep and clean, affirm the cleanliness of the individual after the state of madness, aggressive, complete madness of a world abandoned to the hands of bandits who rend one another and destroy the centuries, without aim or design, without organization, indomitable madness, decomposition." Unquote. So, where does that leave us and the forbidden single-humped M? The Dada movement did not sweep and clean the culture, given Germany in the aftermath of World War I, and shitposting likely won't cure a creeping sense of hopelessness, whether it's due to economic strife, political anxiety, or rampant racism, sexism, homophobia, and transphobia. But on the internet, shitposting has already achieved its aim. The internet is not to entertain by eliciting any kind of positive emotion or audience. The goal is to make the audience so confused at the lack of context that they laugh or smile. As horrific as the single-humped M is, the product of a harsh world, just like the most intricate pieces of Dada art, I said that sentence weird and it didn't make sense to me, and I'm not reading it again. Perhaps sometime soon we'll again be worthy of memes with context, of jokes with obvious humor, of image macros that are understandable. Political change could give our long boys, our round friends, our moths, our car salesmen, and our bad graphics frogs on unicycles a future where they can have deep backstories and rich, layered, multi-part jokes to tell. For now, banning the forbidden glyph is part of the revolution. And I do want to note, there is a new iteration of shitposting. Now, as I understand it, it's called brain rot. However, that came about through TikTok, really. Because when you do TikTok, it's not really a post. You're just uploading a video. So they had to come up with a new term, that term being brain rot. That's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in, and a super thank you to my patrons. And once again, if you're not already a patron, and if you want to help support the show and get access to a whole bunch of bonus episodes, you can do so by becoming a patron today at patreon.com/ThatThingWithJames. If you made it this far, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to catch you next time. Bye.